Good evening, everyone. Tonight is Monday, January 24th, and this is Jackie from magicalhealthproducts.com. Many of you on the call are aware of the website, and those of you who are not, you're welcome at any time to take a look at it. But thank you for all of you for coming to the call this evening. And those of you that have been on my previous calls know that I'm always on the lookout for unique and effective health products. And tonight we have a very riveting product that I have been reviewing and can't wait to get mine, as a matter of fact. I ordered it last week, and it should be here maybe tomorrow or the next day. Anyways, but and I'm sure all of you want to hear its benefits, which are life-enhancing. This evening, we're privileged to have two very special guest speakers. The owner, creator of this very affordable health product, Fred Neal, and the other one is a friend and a business associate, Manna. And I hope I pronounced that right. Anyways, they'll both be speaking and then answering, and we'll be answering also some previously emailed questions. And then this is the format, and we'll be able to open up the call at the end to a live Q&A. So please hold your questions and write them down, keep them written down or in your head until later on. I recommend, if any of you have not already done so, that you get some paper and something to write with. And we're going to be giving out some educational information and contact information that you'll definitely want to have, starting with the recording of this call, which can be heard at, so you want to write this down, 712-432-1085. And the PIN number is 323-200#. Now, I'll repeat that also at the end, too. I just wanted to get that in for some of you who might be having to leave a little earlier. Manna is a Reiki master, and she's going to be our first speaker, who's established her own Reiki Institute, teaching Reiki and other alternative holistic modalities. You know the old saying that out of adversity comes greatness and opportunity, and that's exactly what has happened to Manna. It is because of a life-threatening adversity that was told to her several years ago that Manna found her passion. Since that time, she has done extensive research in order to heal herself from a life-threatening illness, and now she is dedicating her life to sharing her story with us. She's going to be educating and helping as many people as she possibly can across the planet, and that's her life goal. She is also in the process of writing a book about her health-challenging experiences on her road to perfect health, so that she can help empower others to learn how to take back their God-given powers and learn that there are other options to a diagnosis, and that no matter how devastating the diagnosis or illness may be, that the body can heal itself if given the right tools and mindset. Please note that what is presented tonight is not to imply or suggest that you should not seek professional medical advice. Now, for the rest of the story, and for her personal story, I'm going to let Manna take over and tell her story to all of you herself. Manna, are you there?
Yeah, I just got on. I had a problem getting on.
Oh, well, thank God you're here.
So you've started already?
Yes, I just introduced you.
Oh, well, thank you very much, and thank you for sponsoring this call. It's my pleasure to share my experience. Excuse me. In 2007, I was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer and was hospitalized for 22 days and came out and chose the alternative holistic healing treatments. I came and went into remission. A year ago, I went through a very stressful period and came out of remission. Was in the hospital for 10 weeks during July and August. And during that time, they sent me off to hospice twice during my tenure at the hospital. And I refused to go and came back and readmitted myself. I was on oxygen when I came out. My right lung was secreting water and they couldn't stop it. So I came home with an oxygen tank. I was speaking to my girlfriend, who I had not talked to for a while, whose sister had chronic fatigue syndrome, and she was telling me that her sister was now like the bunny on TV. And I said, well, what did she take? And she said, well, she'd been drinking this oxygen water from this guy in Texas. She says, maybe it'll help you. So I was prescribed 6 cycles of chemo when I was in the hospital, so I was still on chemo. On September 1st, I had a chemo treatment, and my water arrived on that day. And I called her to let her know I had received it. And she says, you sound terrible. I said, well, I called you to tell you I received my water today. She says, well, take 4 tablespoons of the water undiluted, and you're going to feel better. Well, I did, and it was as though someone had lifted an elephant off my back. And I was able to sleep all during the night. The following day, I went to the dentist, had some dental surgery done on my gum, and I had carried the water and had it in the car. And when I came out, I was in pain, and I took some of the water and swished it for less than 10 minutes, and I haven't had any pain since. So I started drinking the water on a regular basis. And my numbers, when I was in the hospital, the tracking numbers for cancer, the higher the number, the more the cancer has metastasized throughout the body. And when I was in the hospital, they were 1,015. After drinking the water, the second test that I had, blood test that I had, it showed that it had dropped to 57.7, and 30 is said to be normal. Of course, I'm jumping in with the greatest of joy. So I began to write my testimony to Fred, and it just went all over the planet, I believe. And on October 13, I had a CAT scan. And on the 20th of October, I had my regular checkup with the doctor. And the X-ray showed that I had no mass in either of my lungs, which I did before. And it also showed that the tumor and the mass that was in the right breast had reduced 50%. So needless to say, I'm drinking this water like I'm Niagara Falls. It's been such a blessing in my life and has turned my health around. For three and a half years, I had not been able to walk around the block, or even half a block. When I started drinking the water, I was able to walk all the way around the block, and it was like taking my first steps. So I have experimented with the water in a myriad of ways. I carry a brown dropper bottle with me everywhere I go. I put it in soups, teas, anything liquid, scrambled eggs. If I drop something, spill something on my clothes, I whip out my bottle, put drops of the oxygen water on it, and rub it, and it goes away. I put it in my eyes at night and morning, and then I become real innovative and said, well, why put the drops in when I could just put the Royal Purple bottle on each eye for 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes at night. Now I can't. I just paid something like almost $600 for a pair of glasses that I can't see out of because my eyesight is improving. So that's my story, and I continue to drink the water, and I'm just so blessed to have received this blessing and to know Fred, who's been selected as a vessel to help humanity through this water. So I would like to introduce Mr. Fred Neal, who is the quote unquote.
I'm not. Before you, do you want to tell? I don't want people to think that it's just for cancer. I want to tell them the different types of things and the different benefits from this.
Okay. There's a lot of benefits from increased oxygen in the body, and it increases your energy level, increases stamina and endurance, enhances. But before I continue, that's a very good point you made, Jackie. That what this water does is raises your immune system, and it alkalines your body. It's not the water; it's your body heals itself if it's given the right stuff. So, and the water is a carrier for the technology that Fred has created. To continue with the benefits, rapid fatigue recovery, lowers resting heart rate, kills infectious bacteria, viruses, fungi, and parasites, but does not harm the good microorganisms the body needs. It relieves pain, improves circulation, you sleep better, it strengthens the immune system, heightens concentration and alertness, increases fat metabolism, resulting in loss of body fat. What I have found that it tones the body. You lose a lot of fat, and it creates lean mass. It calms the nervous system, improves memory, improves chemical imbalances in the body, relieves headache, accelerates healing time for injuries, lowers blood pressure, relieves stress and anxiety, allows the body to direct enough oxygen to its primary functions without having to draw on the valuable reserves. It helps reverse premature aging. I really like that because people are telling me how much younger I look. And flattery will always get you everywhere. Relieves symptoms of PMS in women and helps displace damaging and free radicals. So it does a big job of displacing the toxins in your body, inside and outside. And that's my story.
Well, that's good. Now, you can go ahead and introduce the creator and the owner of this product, and manufacturer too.
Yeah, I call him the author of the product.
Okay, good.
Okay, Mr. Fred Neal he's a retired engineer, and some time ago he was stricken with polymyalgia. The Greek term for this disease is pain in many muscles. Even though he was at death's door, he was able to cheat death, and within 30 days of getting on his his oxygen therapy, his body was totally without pain, and that remains true to this day. His illness and wellness has led him to know and believe that oxygen is the healing fluid for all situations. He could see no reason why it wouldn't translate to other species of animals, fish, waterways, etc. It is my pleasure and honor to know Fred and have him in my life. I would like to introduce you to Mr. Fred Neal of Liquid Manna and Royal Purple.
Thank you very much. I'll send you a quarter for all those kind things that you've said.
I accept.
It's a joy to be with you, and thanks to all of you who've joined us here tonight, and we trust that you'll receive something from this conference call that you can hold on to, and if you have situations that you're trying to overcome in your life, well, you might consider what you want to do to try to take charge of your own health. That's your call. I did. Yumna did, and it has paid dividends for us. This as Yumna said, we're not really selling water. We have a technology, and we just happen to be using water to convey it to the body, to the human body, to animals, to fish life, plants. Anything that needs water can certainly capitalize on the technology that we have, and we're seeing a lot of good coming in a lot of areas. We're being asked to work in a lot of areas, and it's just a joy to be able to share this with the people that are aware of it, and we've just done this by word of mouth, basically. Whenever I was coming off my deathbed, had people working with me to kind of help my wife and I. I'm 78, she's 81, and it was a tough thing, but we did have close friends that helped us, and when they saw what was happening, well, they wanted to be on the water and said, if it does that good for you, well, we would like to do it, and they have been since then. And those that have been with us on the water haven't even had the sniffles in the wintertime, and colds and flus and stuff like that, the things that you really enjoy missing. And it's been a real trip, a real blessing. I had retired several years ago, but I found out and I've had people to tell me that retirement is not in the Bible, so you can kind of forget that. So when God has something for you to do, well, just go ahead and, like I heard one guy say one time, just roll over like a little puppy and just say whatever you want, and that's what I'm trying to do here, just making this available to whosoever wants to participate in it and be a part of it, enjoy the benefits of it, things like that. That's our calling, is to help other people. Obviously, Yumna did tell you what my bias is, and my bias is that oxygen is the healing fluid for all situations, and I've shared that thought with just a lot of people over these last few years, and people that are real knowledgeable in the healthcare field and other fields, and they agree with me also that is the case. And it just seemed like oxygen plays a tremendous part in all of our lives, and have a nephew that's retired fire department, and we were talking one day about oxygen and the importance of it, and I asked him the question, what happens to a fire if you cut off the oxygen from it? He says it goes out immediately. Well, if you look back in history and read about the oxygen level in the atmosphere for a few centuries back, it was rather high then, and this day and time, the oxygen level is 20%, and even less in some places. And you can rest assured that whenever you fly into places like Los Angeles and other places, and you see that mustard fog hanging over the city, you can rest assured that the oxygen level in that area is very, very low. And it can get extremely low to where it is life-threatening, and a lot of people do experience death as a result of just loss of oxygen. And so we have found out how to enhance water to a very, very, very high oxygen content. We've stabilized water. Water itself is normally unstable, but we've been able to stabilize it. Now, what does that mean? Oxygen in water, in the natural state out here, water loses its oxygen in about an hour, and in less time than that, if it is in an elevated temperature, But because we've been able to stabilize the oxygen, then as long as our water is wet, it still has that high level of oxygen. We've tested this and proven it in farm ponds, for instance, through 2 winters and 2 summers and springs and obviously the 4 seasons. And after 2.5 years, the pond was still holding its high oxygen level. And this is a very interesting aspect of what we've been able to do. We also find that people that drink the water, excuse me, and their oxygen level gets to a very high level, it seems to hold just like the pond did. Well, I parallel the body to bodies of water, if you will, because the body itself is made up of 60 to 70% water. So you would just normally expect that whenever the body is saturated, if you will, with this higher level of oxygen, then it's going to hold it pretty well. And so far it does. And I have a little oxygen meter that you clip on your finger, and you can read the blood oxygen. That's an interesting little gadget, but your health people use it in the assisted living places, and if you're checked into a hospital or something like that, or know somebody that is, well, one of the first things they're doing now is checking your oxygen level in the body. And it's very interesting because I've noticed that the people that's been on the water, that for a goodly period of time, their oxygen level on the little meter is running around 98. That seems to be kind of typical. Now then, our pastor's wife, where we go to church, has been fighting melanoma for 43 years. And we've introduced her to the water some time back, and the doctors have finally pronounced her healed. And just a week ago, I was with them, and I decided I'd put the oximeter on her finger and see what it was. And sure enough, it was 98% oxygen in the bloodstream. So that's a good way of checking your body to see how you're doing. Another way you can check your body is with pH strips. Those are, if you recall your high school chemistry, college chemistry, you may have been introduced to them. They're called litmus paper, pH paper, hydrazine paper. There's a few names for it, but it's just little strips of paper that you can put in your mouth and get it wet with your saliva, take it out of the mouth, and compare it to a color chart. Very high tech, very inexpensive, and that's a good way of checking on the condition of your body. And whether you're on the water or whether you're not on the water, you have a right to know what your body looks like, and that's one way of finding out something about your body. So I would highly recommend that you check yourself on your pH. Now, on the pH scale, it runs from 0 to 14, 7 being the center point. Anything below 7 is in the acid range, and all diseases survive in an acid range. Dr. Warburg in the 30s and 40s won the Nobel Prize twice, but he discovered that no diseases could live in an oxygen-rich environment. Well, anything above 7 is over in the alkaline side, and that is your oxygen-rich environment. So we suggest, and we like to see our pH in the 7.5 to 8 range, something like that. And that is a good goal for everybody, whether they're on my water or not. You need to know what's going on in your body. And if you see your body dropping below 7, getting down in the the 6 range, you are definitely headed for trouble. And whenever it's down in the 5.5 range, you have major problems. And so just a word to the wise is sufficient, and I pass it on to you. And you can buy these things off of eBay. You can go to Edmund Scientific on the internet, and they have them, a little vial for a couple dollars. It's got maybe 50 or 100 of these little strips in it, and so it's worth your while to look into that. We have basically we've developed 2 kinds of water. Jackie, am I still on target here? Am I rambling too much?
No, you're fine. You're
okay.
fine.
Okay. Don't yank my chain if I get too far out of the way.
I will. I'll drop you.
Okay. Thank you. We have basically 2 kinds of water. One is what we call our regular, our red-green. The other one is what we call our royal, or the purple. Now, the red-green was designed from the ground up, I guess you might say, and then the purple was designed from the top down. But the red-green was designed for drinking, basically, where the royal or the purple was designed for burn victims, is what I had in mind when I come up with it, because a friend of mine had been burnt severely in an airplane crash, and he was telling me how bad it was and all, and I got to thinking about that, and I came up with the purple for that purpose, even though it had the beauty part about it, and well, both of them, they have, both versions have tissue healing qualities to it, and this is good for healing tissue on the inside and the outside. I've had 3 hernia operations, and all of those scars are gone. My wife and I started using this water as eye drops about 3 years ago, and it got rid of the cataracts that were forming in my eyes, according to the optometrist. Then my wife continued on, and about 6 months ago, she received the sight again that she had lost in 22 years ago. She passed out down in Dallas because of glaucoma, and a $20,000 operation in Presbyterian Hospital. The doctor put a double plate Maltino implant in there to help, its miniature plumbing to help equalize the pressure from the inside to the outside of the eye. And the plumbing operation was successful, but she lost the use of that eye, and it whited over. You've seen blind people, and their eyes are just totally white. That's a film that comes on there, and I don't understand it, but that's what happened to her. And they gave up on her. They said, well, we know you can't see out because we can't see in, and they had nothing else they could offer her except get on this medicine for the rest of your life. And she said, I don't want any part of it. And she suffered until I suffered, and whenever I suffered, the Lord showed me how then to come out of the suffering through the oxygen water and the oxygen therapy, I call it, as we were developing this thing. But after 22 years, she finally regained the sight of that eye. It's not perfect yet. She sees figures. She sees oncoming headlights at night. She saw the moon for the first time in 22 years out of that eye about 6 months ago now. And so it has tissue healing qualities to it. So this gives you kind of a broad brush as to what we have here, and we're really excited about it. And so, Jackie, I'll kind of back off here now and see which way you want to go, or you want to open it for questions. Your choice.
Well, before we open it up for live questions, these were from previous calls that had been done, and I'm sure these might even eliminate some of the live call questions that people have when we answer that. So let me just start on, and you can answer, and I'll ask.
Okay.
One of the questions, what should I expect with the first drink, and will it make me go to the bathroom? In other words, I'm assuming that this person is not having problems going to the bathroom. They're afraid that they're going to go too much.
That is a very, very good question, and that happens probably. I'm just going to guess kind of 50% of the time when people get on to the program. What happens is whenever you start on this water, then you start a detoxing, and it will happen just right away. And we have people that don't get out of sight of the bathroom for the first 2 or 3 days, maybe. But it will taper off, and but it does get rid of a lot of poisons in a hurry. We've also conversely had people that have gotten on the water and that did have to get up and go to the bathroom on maybe several occasions at night and found themselves early on sleeping all the way through the night. So it works both ways. Everybody's physiology is a little bit different, so don't be surprised if you do, but it won't happen for very long, and your body will kind of smooth out there after just a little while. But just be glad that you're going through that, because you are getting rid of poisons. And believe me, whenever you get rid of the poisons, then that means that the pH of your body is starting to go up. And I might add that whenever we get poisons in the body, it displaces oxygen that's in the body, and when you displace oxygen out of the body, well, then the pH of the body goes down toward the acid side. But our theory is flood the body with oxygen, and it's a strong man of the house principle where the oxygen coming in is so strong that it overcomes the poisons that's in the body, and overcoming the poison causes the body then to help go back toward the oxygen side of the pH scale.
Now, Fred, from my understanding, because I've been a natural health practitioner for 40 years now, and my understanding is, and it's pretty common as people get older, that they have inflammation, even if you're not aware of the inflammation, that your body is having inflammation. But most of the time it comes out, or it's being exhibited in many different forms. And that one of the key things that this product does with when you flood the body with oxygen is it will reduce and eliminate the inflammation that's in your body.
Yes, that is for sure. We see quite a bit of that, and inflammation can be a sign too of healing. Someone was telling me recently, but yes, it will soothe and it ministers to every molecule and cell in the body. And if there's inflammation, poisons of any kind in there, it removes all of those things. And whenever you remove those poisons and things that are causing that inflammation, well, then it just stands to reason that the body is going to heal itself.
Right. Now, are these changes slow to show, or would, in other words, if I started on this, say tomorrow, if I had got my, like, when can I expect to see some, or is everybody's physiology again different? But in most cases, what have you heard so far?
Well, everybody's physiology is different, that's for sure, and it affects people different ways. But one of the main feedbacks that we get is when people get started on the water, they notice a bounce in energy, and it's not a fake bounce. It comes up and it will stay up. I hear a lot of that, and now there's something else that is important about consuming this water. If you were to drink one of our bottles straight and chug-a-lugged it, if you will, real fast, and all of that oxygen hits the body, well, I have seen people get on a very cheap drunk, and they would just have to sit down. I saw one. The first time I saw this was with a real strong individual. He said said, "Well, I just need a drink of that water." And he turned the bottle up and drank it. I said, "You really shouldn't do that." Well, he did, and he got so drunk that he had to go sit down. And it took about 40 minutes. Now he was great. I mean, no problem. He didn't have a hangover when it was over with. But it will minister to you in a hurry if you drink it like that. So that's another thing that we caution people about.
Fred, when I've heard you talk in the past, and please share with everybody what they can do with that Royal Purple, putting it in the bathtub. I mean, because that I thought was really fascinating.
That's an interesting phenomenon that we found out. We didn't know this whenever we were developing this, but there is what we're dealing with is energy levels here, and everything has an energy level, whether it be an adverse thing like cancer or anything like that. It has an energy level. It's alive. It's a living organism, if you will, and all parts of your bodies has energy levels, and your body has a certain amount of oxygen, energy level in oxygen, and so what we're doing is we're introducing a high energy level of oxygen into the body, and that's where you get your refreshing when you do consume the water. Now, on my scale, let's say an average person on the street would have an oxygen energy level of, let's say, 1,000. I'm referring strictly to my scale. On the same scale of measurement, well, a pretty good drinking water would have an oxygen level of maybe 1,350 to 1,600, somewhere in that area. I have tested oxygen drops that are common on the market, and those get up to around 3,500 oxygen level. But we started out raising it to 1 million, and then we went on to 2 and to 5 to 10 to 20. We plateaued at 35 for a good long while, just waiting to see if there was any adverse reactions that people were having that we were near, because we were dealing with people near us, and so it was easy to get feedback. And nobody was having any adverse effects, but they were having some tremendous reports, and so we kept raising it. We started off with our white top, and then when we got it to another level, we would put a red marker on it, and then we got to another level, we put a green mark on it, and then when we got to the level where we are now, we've got the red-green. So that's a real high-tech thing that we were doing, but that whenever we refer to the red-green, that's our drinking water, and that's where we plateaued it out. And I don't know, did I answer your question, or did I chase a rabbit there?
I think you chased a rabbit. But one of the things that I had heard on a previous call was how you can take that Royal Purple, the bottle, and you don't open the bottle up, and you run a bathtub, and you put the bottle unopened in the bathtub, and you leave it there for 30 minutes, I believe you said, and then you want to take it from there, what it does.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got enthused there, and
you got carried away.
Got carried away. Sorry about that. But yes, you can. What we like to see people do if they're wanting to really detox, and of course, detoxing is the name of the game. Getting the poisons out of the system is where all of us want to be. We start running our water in the tub, and we just put one of the purple bottles in the tub, let it float like a cork, and after 5 to 10 minutes, it will go ahead and charge that tub of water without opening the bottle, and just soak in it as long as you like, and it is real good. If you've got, we've had people with rashes and stuff like this that found out that the rash would go away whenever they would do that. So we say, drinking water on the inside, soaking it on the outside, and getting rid of the poisons through the pores of the skin is an excellent way of doing this. And we have a lady, I think Ann, I heard her on the earlier report on the call, and they have a hot tub, and they put a bottle or two of the purple down in that, and that has been really good for detoxing the body. Now you can take this same bottle and keep it by your bed or your easy chair or whatnot, and we've had people report that they had migraine headaches, and they just held the bottle up next to the where the pain was, and most of the time the pain goes away, and that's something that a lot of people have their doubts about until they actually experience it. And give you for instance, had a lady in Vancouver that called early one Monday morning, and she said she was in tears. She said, my husband had a knee operation 5 months ago, and said they've not been able to kill the pain in it or anything. He said he's been in excruciating pain for 5 months, and said we haven't even started drinking your water. But when we got the box this morning, said my husband got the purple bottle. He put it by his knee. Said 5 minutes that pain was gone, and it hadn't come back. And we get all kinds of reports like that. So yes, you can do that, and a lot of people will keep the bottle by the bed, and if you lay down, you got a sore spot or something, well, people just will cuddle that bottle next to them and even sleep with the bottle. So it's quite an interesting phenomenon that we have in that.
Well, I have one little extra little question as long as we're on this part of it, is that if I took some water out of this bottle, in other words, does it have to be a completely full bottle that's never been opened in order to be able to put it in the bathtub or to sleep with it?
No, you can break the bottle down into smaller segments if you want to. A lot of people will get a little bottle that maybe holds an ounce or something like that, and actually carry it with them in their pocket or purse. And I carry one with me quite a bit, and I run across people that had this one lady that she said her hand was hurting real bad, and she's supposed to go to the doctor the next day for a checkup or something. And I said, well, here, hold this bottle for a moment. And she held the bottle, and the pain went right away. And I think she thought I was some sort of I don't know what she thought really, but
maybe a witch doctor, huh?
yeah, but the pain went away, and that was beautiful. So yeah, you can break it down and into smaller segments if you want to.
Well, now we're getting into. I want people to understand not only is like how one bottle, we're talking about a 16-ounce bottle, folks, and not only is it super affordable, but when you, why don't you explain to them what they would do, because you're only taking 1 teaspoon out, I believe, and then you put it into a gallon of water, and it just raises the pH and oxygenates the water, and that's what you drink. So you're not drinking it straight from the bottle. I mean, did I say that right?
Well, somewhat.
Okay.
Our drinking version is the regular or the red green, and we suggest taking a tablespoon rather than a teaspoon, a tablespoon of it in a gallon of your preferably non-chlorinated. And if you've got a good filtered drinking water that like a lot of people do, we'll just put a tablespoon in a gallon of that, and it'll go ahead and charge that gallon up to the level of the water that's in the little bottle, and that's what you would want to drink. Wash your vegetables in it, mist it on your face, used it as eye drops, anything that you use water for, it's a candidate for it, and I'd say go for it.
Yeah, but you don't use distilled water, definitely not.
Well, you can. It's going to put a lot of oxygen in the distilled water, so you can get away with using distilled water. The thing with distilled water is realizing that you don't have minerals and stuff like that, and of course you need to talk to someone that's into the healthcare business that can help you with that if you're on a regimen of nothing but distilled water. So I understand you don't want to go without proper minerals and nutrition, obviously.
Now, what happens when one stops drinking the water? Does now whatever condition they did have, is that going to return, or how long is the value of what you've just done to your body?
Well, we had one man that called us here just recently, and he'd for 16 years he'd had this pain in his. I want to think it was in his eye. There's so many of them come in, I can't remember all of them. But he got on the water, and the third day he had no more pain, and he run along for a week and got off of the water and decided to see how long it would take him. And he said, I think I was feeling that pain coming back, and so I got back on the water. So my thoughts there are, if it's working, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Go ahead and let the body season and give it time to get rid of the pain, and let the body adjust to the newfound energy that it has in this water. So give it time to work, and really, folks, you're going to need to drink water from now until you're through in this world. So you might as well drink something that's going to do you some good. Okay.
Well, and now that brings up, of course, now is what do you recommend, for storing, the water when you're taking the teaspoon out and putting it into a gallon? I mean, should you, is this water affected by, say, if I took a glass of to make some hot tea and I put it in the microwave to heat up the water, is it going to be effective then? I mean, is it going to ruin the benefits of having this particular water, or if I froze it, or what can it handle and what can't it?
Well, I want to correct you one more time now. Use a tablespoon, not a teaspoon, Jackie.
Oh, okay, tablespoon. Okay, sorry.
But that's good. You don't a lot of waters, they put magnesium in, and whenever you crack the seal on it, well, you'll hear a little fizz, and all of the oxygen is gone because of the magnesium. Well, we don't do anything like that, and so it doesn't hurt if you leave this bottle sitting there uncapped, and you can just put it on a shelf. I'd recommend keeping it out of direct sunlight, of course, but it's not going to hurt it. Using it and putting the cap back on it. You don't have to keep it in the refrigerator. You can if you want to. You can freeze it. It'll still hold its high oxygen level even in the ice cubes. Just recently, someone called and asked me, well, what about this water? What does a microwave do to it? Well, of course, all of us know that microwaves are not the greatest thing for our health, but a lot of people still have them. But I said, well, it does. Our water is not affected by the microwave, and I said, it's been a while since I've run that test. So I said, well, I'll just go do another test, and so I got some test tubes, and I proceeded to run some tap water into one of them. I checked the oxygen level on it. It was running, as I recall, around 1,600, and I put it in the microwave for 30 seconds. Boiled about 2/3 of the water out, but I had enough left in there that I could go ahead and check the oxygen content of the tap water, and it had lost at least a fourth. It was down to 1,200, so it was about a fourth of its oxygen level in that 30 minutes in the microwave. Well, I've done the same thing with our purple water, and same time, had the same reaction, boiled about 2/3 of it out of the test tube, but I had enough yet to test the water for oxygen, and it was still holding its oxygen just as high as it was before. So the microwave does not affect this, and I think the reason for that is that we have stabilized the water, and it's that outer valence shell of the water is closed up, and so it maintains itself regardless.
Okay, now here's some more because we're moving right along on this so that we can open it up to some live questions, unless we'll wound up answering everybody's question in their head. But how much water, in other words, what kind of protocol should I put myself on and anybody else? It's like how much water should I drink per day, and also can I overdose on this? In other words, if I maybe I normally drink, say, six glasses of water or 8 glasses of water a day, and sometimes it's done in iced tea or hot tea or whatever. So I'm counting all of that as water because I'd be using that water. So is there a certain protocol or isn't there?
There is no way that we believe, and we've talked to other people like Ed McCabe, who is known as Mr. Oxygen. You can look him up on the internet. He has a beautiful book on oxygen. I highly recommend that you get it. But he says there's no way of overdosing on oxygen. Your body can handle it, and so that's the one thing that we don't have to worry about.
And we don't have to worry about taking it on an empty stomach, or it has to be with food, like some other, like if you're taking nutrients.
No, just however, if you're ready for water, I tell people don't even look at the clock. I mean, just drink it if you want it. And you ask about the protocol as to how much. That is a personal preference. I like what you said there, 8 glasses a day. Some people will drink that, some not as much. But somebody told me just recently that they read the recommendation that you, and maybe I need to be corrected on this, but I think they said a half ounce per pound of body weight or something like that. So if you weighed, let's say, 200 pounds, well then you'd maybe 100 ounces, and a gallon of that's a day, and a gallon is, if I recall my math, is 128 ounces. So six glasses or something like that. What you suggested there seems to me to be a typical, and like you said, you can use it in your water, your tea, iced tea, hot tea, whatever. I mean, it's there for you, and what we want to see is people get their body conditioned over a period of time to where colds and things like that do not affect you. And believe me, you can get to that.
And I would also think that if you're utilizing this water and you're taking your nutrients, and of course everybody should know that not to take your nutrients on an empty stomach, that it's going to enhance and potentiate any of the effects of the nutrients that you're taking.
Yes, it's a necessary part of life. I'll tell you for sure. You just can't ignore the fact that you need oxygen just about in every situation you can think of.
Now, here's one last question before we open it up is, can you, and I hope I'm not putting you on the spot, but can you talk about how different is this from, say, 35% food grade hydrogen peroxide? And how different is this?
Well, I had, whenever I was doing my research and development on this, I did talk to an engineer at one of the plants down on the Texas Gulf Coast, and we were talking about food grade. The company that he's with makes the food grade hydrogen peroxide, and we got to talking about that. And after I got to talking to him about it, he could only discuss the things that they used or their development of their food grade hydrogen peroxide, and it's good, and a lot of people use that. But as far as the oxygen is concerned, there is no comparison with the oxygen and 35% food grade peroxide and what we're doing. We're just light years ahead of that.
Okay, well, that's good to know, too, because I know I've read some wonderful things about 35% food-grade oxygen, but it sounds like it's a whole lot easier to take and do and a lot more potent also. What I'd like to do at this time, folks, if you have a burning question that you'd like to get answered, this is how you can do that. What you do is you'll press *6, and that's going to put you in queue. And I will, so it's like holding up your hand, and then I'll be able to move along the questions, and I would assume that all these questions are going to be geared for Fred. So they're going to, I hope they, put him on the spot, but I'm sure he can handle it. So like I said, if you have a question that you'd like to have Fred answer, press *6. You'll get in queue, and I'll be able to open up the line for you, and you'll be able to ask it. And I see we have a couple of questions right now, so let's begin. Okay, your line is open, questioner, so why don't you ask your question?
All right, can you hear me?
I can hear you, and so, Fred, you can hear him too, can't you?
I'd like to thank Yamna for telling me about the product. I'm 82 years old, and last year I had a stroke. Ended up in the hospital for 2 months, and I came out with Parkinson's disease. I'm a diabetic. My amount was always near 200. Since I've been getting on this product for the last 2 months now, it has gone down to 130. When I got out of the hospital, I couldn't walk. I had Parkinson's disease. My wife had to push me around in a wheelchair for 2 months. I am now being able to walk because my doctors told me I could no longer get up and down stairs, so I had to get rid of the townhouse and moved into a ranch. I am now being able to walk around since I've been taking the product. My diabetes is down, and I had to have a pacemaker put in, and my healing is just wonderful, and I thank the doctor and Yamna for everything they've done for me. So it is a miracle.
Oh, that's a wonderful testimony. And by the way, if there's anybody on the call that has been on the water and has a testimony, we'd love to hear from you too. So please get into queue. And right now, Gilbert, I'm going to move along to the next caller.
Hi, this is Melody. Okay, I've actually seen and used some products that, have oxygen related before. However, yours sounds much, much better. Do you have to make up a gallon of water at a time?
No, you don't have to make up a gallon of water at a time. Let me give you kind of a rule of thumbs that may help you. Excuse me. I have people that travel a lot, and they check into different motels pretty regularly, and they buy bottled water out of the vending machine. And they asked me about taking a smaller bottle that they could dispense drops in, and I calculated for them that 3 drops in a 16-ounce bottle, which is typically what you find water in. There's bigger bottles, but that's a typical size. 3 drops in one of those 16-ounce bottles will take you up to the level of the tablespoon per gallon. So you don't have to mix it up in a gallon. If you go to a restaurant or something, they serve you water in a glass or something like that. Well, then you can just put 3 drops. If it's a larger glass, you might want to put a 4th drop. So you're not restricted to doing a gallon at a time. No.
Okay, Melody, does that answer your question?
Well, there's 2 more parts to it.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Then when you're saying like buy a bottle of water out of the vending, is plastic okay to put it in then, or if you're storing it, should it be in glass? Yes,
most of your waters nowadays that I see on the shelf and in the vending machines are in plastic. People have asked that question. Well, what about the water whenever I receive it? Can I put it in a glass container? And the answer to that is yes. You can do that. You can put it in a glass container if you like. It works just real good. And so remember that also that we're try to use plastic bottles that don't leach and there's questions that different viewpoints on whether there's any plastic that doesn't leach. But let me say this, that if there is anything that leaches out, the oxygen in the water is going to hopefully take care of it before you ever get it anyway. But yes, you can put it in glass bottles and for storage or whatnot. Yes.
Okay, so that was what I was wondering about, is because a lot of times when you have anything good in plastic, it'll deteriorate because the plastic, just like you say, leaches into it. So if I were going to store mine and made a gallon, I'd definitely put it in glass. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, does that answer all your questions now, Melody?
Yes. For
okay,
right
great.
now.
I'm going to move to the next caller, folks. Okay, you're on.
Okay, my name is Trish, and I was just wondering about the when you put the tablespoon of the red and green water into the gallon of water, does that automatically, does the oxygen automatically disperse throughout the gallon of water?
The short answer to that is yes.
Oh, great.
And it doesn't take long, Melanie, for that to happen. By the time you're ready to get your glass to pour it out, well, it will have taken place.
Oh, okay.
And folks, remember, so like one bottle can last you for months and months. So, this a little bit goes a long way, because when you're doing it, when you're only using a tablespoon and you've got a 16-ounce bottle, you can figure that one out yourself. How long, and it's going to be based on, of course, how much water or how much you're using it every single day, too. But generally speaking, probably if you're just, taking 6 to 8 glasses a day of water, that you're talking about anywhere from, 3 to 4 to 6 months. So, or, if you're taking the amount of water you should be taking and drinking on a daily basis, then it should last you at least 3 to 4 months. So now, do you have any more questions, or can I go to the next caller?
Yeah, you answered that perfectly, so thank you.
Oh, okay.
Right. Jackie?
Who's this talking?
Yeah, Yumna. I wanted to remind people that they can cook with it as well. I do all my cooking with the oxygen water, and it gives pinto beans and vegetables different taste. It brings out the flavor, the natural flavor of whatever it is you're cooking.
Oh, that's wonderful to hear. So, in other words, it's like it enhances the flavor, whatever you're cooking. So, for all you bad cooks out there listening, that should help you a whole lot.
Let me share one more story. A friend gave me flour for poinsettia for Christmas, and we had a cold spell, and it was sitting on the porch, and I was out, and when I come back home, the poor little thing was so wilted, it looked like it was dead. So I brought it in, put it on a coffee table, and I said, I'm going to give you some oxygen water. And I did that night, and the next morning it looked prettier than it did when it came from the store.
Now, also, let me toss something in too. While you're watering your plants, don't forget about your animals. They love this water.
I was just going to ask about that too. I assume that it is safe for your animals, so it's safe for your plants. It's safe to put it on topically. It's safe to drink it. So there's it sounds like it's not that there's nothing that it isn't safe for.
That's the way we have it figured, Jackie.
Okay, I'm going to move to the next questioner. Steve.
Fred.
Yes.
Awesome show. Jackie, awesome show. Fred,
well,
very good knowledge.
Thank you. You have a question for Fred?
Yeah. For Fred, what is your website, Fred?
I'm sorry.
At the end, Yumna is going to give out all that contact information, so you'll be able to do that. I'm just putting this show on. Basically, this is not, a business opportunity. You're basically, all of you are going to be able to buy it, real close to wholesale. I mean, it's just an incredible product, and that's why I'm spending the time to do this, is because so Yumna is going to give out her contact information and how you can purchase it very shortly, as soon as we get through with these questions, Steve, and everybody else who's listening, okay?
I appreciate it all. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay,
yes,
Lester.
I have various different ailments of health issues, and I take a lot of different prescriptions. Will this water affect my prescriptions at all?
What it will do, the way I personally look at that is that we like I say, we have a technology. We use water to convey our technology to where it's going to go, be it human being, plants, animals, whatnot. The prescription people use poisons to convey their technology. Now, what will happen? It will not hurt the good effects that come through the prescriptions, but it will attack the poisons and get rid of those out of your body, and that's one of the things that you want to do. So we do not, we never tell people to get off of their prescriptions or anything like that, but we do tell them that they do need to drink water, and this is not going to hurt in any areas like that at all. So you shouldn't have any concerns that I can understand right now.
Now, one more thing I want to add to that. You're probably going to find, anybody on prescription medication, is that when you go back to the doctor, that your levels, your health levels have gone up, and therefore, and many times that the doctor, that's just like what Fred said, you don't stop it on your own or reduce it, but that the doctor, in many cases, might be reducing the prescription down to a smaller level, if not eliminating it totally. So that's up for the doctor to do.
That's what I'm hoping for to hear from the doctors, that it can go down or get less or not at all.
Correct, yes. Correct.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Also, Jackie, there's Ann is retired medical, and if she's on the queue somewhere, she can clue us in on some things, because she had some health issues when she got introduced to the water and was able to reduce some of her medications. So maybe she'll come on here in a little while and well,
if she's on the call, press *6, Ann, and you can get on, and we'll get to you so that you can give your testimony or what's happened to you. But let's move along.
Hi, this is Melody again. You were mentioning the red and green and the purple, and the young ladies that started everything first mentioned something about putting it in their eyes. How much, and how does that work, please?
Well, you can, you can't. It's pretty difficult to mess up with this water in the eyes. I've found out, and my wife have found out, and whenever we started putting the water in our eyes, we did not have the red-green. We were still under the developmental stage. We were in the white or the red or the green, but not up to the red-green at that time. So you can use it diluted, just like we've talked about, a tablespoon per gallon of water ratio. You can use it straight. You can use the purple. You can dilute the purple if you want to. You can use the purple straight. And the way we use it started out, my wife had a murine bottle that we had from times past. It was empty, so we just put some water in it and use it. Just put it in your eyes like you would murine or any other kind of drops. And I usually start my day with 2 or 3 drops, one drop at a time in each eye, and I blot that out, and I'll put a second one in, and then a third one. And by that time, I'm starting to be refreshed, and I get up, and I can even see, at my age, whenever I get up. So
well, that's always a plus.
yeah, just enjoy it. I mean, you can't mess up.
You can't mess up, and you can't hurt yourself, folks. So, so it's not a matter of it's because there's nothing toxic in it, and that's what you need to understand. This is nothing toxic. That's what we're trying to get rid of, all the toxins. Okay, right. I'm going to move along to the next caller. Okay, you're on.
Good evening. This is Ann. How is everyone?
Hi, Ann.
Okay. I've been using this water for it will be a year this coming April. And some phenomenal things have happened. If I won't impose on anyone, I'll share a couple of them with you.
We'd love to hear all of it.
I was absolutely inundated with oxygen.
With what? She just dropped off.
She dropped off?
Yeah, and it wasn't on purpose. I didn't do anything. So she'll come back on. And I'm going to move to the next caller, and as soon as she gets back on, we'll get her again, okay?
Okay.
Michelle?
Yes. Hello?
Yes, the line's open for you.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm glad you made it to the call.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I've just been on for about maybe 10 minutes, so, and I'm a health practitioner, and my question is, I have a Kangen water machine here, so I have the different pH, levels, and I was wondering if there's any problem using the oxygen drops with the Kangen.
We have people that have the Kangen machine. I don't have one. I'm vaguely familiar. So, but we've had people that would the Kangen machine. I understand now. I stand to be corrected on this, but I think it will raise the pH of the water up, but it loses that pH within the first 24 hours, something like that. But and I have people that use my water with the Kangen water, and there's no problem.
It probably would only enhance it even more.
Yes, it will enhance it, regardless of what happens to the pH of that. Well, it does convey a lot of oxygen yet, regardless, into the Kangen machine.
Now, folks, I don't want you to think that it only applies to the Kangen. If anybody has an alkaline machine, this will not. It's not going to negate the effects out, nor will it. You don't use one instead of the other. So this is only going to support and enhance and increase the pH levels, as well as oxygenate the body with the effects of what you're doing. So it doesn't have to be a Kangen machine. I happen to have a very good alkaline water machine, but it's not a Kangen. So for those of you out there that do have it, but not, so it's either one. It doesn't really matter what you have.
Okay, wonderful.
Jackie, I have the Kangen machine, and what I found out, it doesn't take the fluoride out of the water. It takes chloride and lead. But when I put the oxygen water in, it just enhances what it's supposed to do.
Oh,
great.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Now, Ann, did you get back on or not? I don't know what happened to her. I don't know what kind of system she was on. But if you did get back on, press *6 and we'll put you back into, and we'll be able to hear you. I wonder if her battery went dead. That might have happened if she was using a cell phone.
That could be, but maybe she'll come back on.
Well, anyways, that is, if anybody else has a question, because Michelle was the last question that we had, unless Ann comes back on. I know we've run over the hour, but I know this is all fascinating information for everybody to listen to. But you know what? If there's no more questions, Yumna, why don't you tell everybody how they can access this, how they can access your website, your contact information. So it's all yours now.
Thank you. I'd be glad to do so. I hope everyone has a pencil paper. My website is stabilizedoxygenwater.com. STABILIZED, oxygenwater.com. My email is Yumna, Y-U-M as in Mary, N as in Nancy, A-H, oxygenwater@gmail.com. And my phone number is 954-303-4340.
And now why don't you also, because you're on Eastern time, so why don't you tell them what your hours are so that they can, probably get a hold of you, when you're not asleep.
From 12 to 6.
That's 12 p.m., which is noon, to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, folks.
Correct. And if I'm not available, please leave a message with your telephone number, and I will get back to you as soon as possible.
Now, if any of you miss that, or if it comes back or something wrong, those of you who have my email can always email me, and I will send her information out also.
So does everyone have that? Do you need for me to repeat the information?
It's also going to be on the playback number because we've already said that. So let me once again give you the playback number. It's going to be 712-432-1085. And you're going to enter the same code you used to come in, which is 323-200#. And folks, Fred, I want to thank you. Yumna, I want to thank you, and I want to thank everybody who got on the call this evening for spending the time with us and to hear about this incredible product. I told you it was going to be riveting, and I hope you learned a lot. And does anybody have anything else to say?
Yeah. Well, hold on just a moment, Jackie.
Uh-huh.
I have Ann on the other phone. Can she dial back in for a moment?
Sure, absolutely. We've got another somebody. I don't know if she already did or not, but let me see if she, if she dialed back in.
Ann, you can.
Is that you?
Ann? No, it's me, Jackie. Sorry. This is Renee.
Oh, hi, Renee.
I could not understand if you could spell out that website because I'm not getting it when I type it in.
I'll send you the email on it, okay?
Okay.
If anybody who didn't get it right away, unless, did you want to repeat it again, the website?
Sure, you can go http://stabilizedoxygenwater.com.
It's stabilized
oxygenwater.com. That's STABILIZED oxygen OXYGEN and then the word water WATER.com.
Correct. Thank you, Jackie.
Okay.
Ann was trying to dial back in. I don't know if she made it yet or not, Jackie.
I don't. If she's on the call, Ann, would you please press *6, and so you get in queue, and I can open up the line for you. Well, oh wait, is she in Oklahoma?
Yes.
Okay, let me get her. Okay, Ann.
Again, I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, I was just gone. Where was I, sweet darling, when I was sharing with the scar that had gone away, and the number of documentations that my cardiologist looked at the scar and said, "My goodness, what are you doing to that?" And I said, "Well," he said, "what are you rubbing on it?" And I said, "Well, actually nothing. I'm bathing in oxygen water." And then I showed him that I could see with the damaged eye that he knew I was technically blind in. And his nurse said, "How do I get this water?" I said, "Well, okay, I can get that for you." The retinologist nurse had some surgery. When she saw what was going on, she said, "How do I get this water?" I sent her some. She's using it. Her scars are going away, and all the needles are gone from her suture sites. They were like mine, just felt like needles and sticking her. The right eye that they're treating to deter the macula from being damaged now has 20/25 vision in it. So it has improved 3 lines in about 8 or 9 months. And my diabetic condition is much better. I'm on less insulin. I'm not having any problems with my feet and legs. I just put this purple bottle in our spa, and my husband, who is Mr. No thank you, I don't want an aspirin kind of fella, decided that I was doing so well he'd just get in the spa too. So he's been doing really well, and he had an occurrence that happened about 8 years ago. He was stricken with a disease called cellulitis, and it almost took his leg. We were 8 days in the hospital getting that to go away. And not long ago, he got out in a rain. We didn't think much about it, but the next day, he came in with hard chills and 105.2 temperature. Well, it was like 4:30, 5 o'clock. We couldn't get into the doctor's office. He refused to go to ER. So I did, the only thing I had to do was I started giving him straight bottles of purple and straight bottles of red and green. He was throwing up, but no diarrhea. He finally got to the point where his temperature broke, and he was able to keep now the water down. And this was like Friday morning. So I took swabs from his mouth because I didn't know what had happened to him, and sent them to Fred, overnighted them, and he got them Saturday. Well, Friday night, after I'd sent him the swabs, of course he hadn't received them yet, but Friday night, Joe's leg that he's had so much trouble with broke out with cellulitis again. I thought, oh, dear God, here we go. We're going back to the hospital. And Joe said, no, we're not. He said, just give me some more of that purple water. And so I put some in a spray bottle, and I added about 4 tablespoons of silver, colloidal silver. A doctor friend of mine makes it, and it's really, really good. And I put about 4 tablespoons of that in with the purple water, started spraying that cellulitis. Well, that was Friday night, and Saturday, the cells had already begun to diminish with water. They were flattening out. The cellulitis was healing. And Fred called me about mid-afternoon and said, has Joe been down to the Gulf? And I said, no, why? He said, well, didn't you tell me he got wet in the rain a day or so back? I said, yeah, he was just soaked. He was out in it all day. Apparently, the clouds brought in whatever toxins, because they tested the same as Fred had been testing the Gulf people who were having such troubles. The only way he could have gotten it was airborne in that cloud, because the liriope on the side of our house is deader than a doorknob, and you can't kill that monkey grass no matter what you do to it. That was the same rain that Joe was in. So, okay, here we are at Saturday, and I'm still doing this, and it's still getting better. And I told Fred what I was doing. He said, well, great. He said, I think, you know, if he hadn't already been on the water, we might have really been in trouble. And I said, yes, because he had an abundance of water in him, and his oxygen level was up quite high. But when that toxic stuff hit in that rain, and he got drenched in it. I'm not sure, but what maybe I might not have my husband had it not been for this purple water and the red, green, and that little bit of colloidal silver, because he was one sick chicken when he came in with 105.2 temperature. Anyway, here it is. Saturday, it's healing. Sunday, it's healing. Monday, we go to the doctor because I want the doctor to see this. Our practitioner who had him hospitalized years ago when he had this for 8 days looked at it and said, my goodness, this is cellulitis. He said, but what are you putting on it? It's healed. So I told him, and he looked at me like I was wearing a tin hat. And I said, well, whatever. It worked, didn't it? He said, yes, apparently it did. He said, let's see if he's got any residue of infection. Let's run some tests. So they pulled a Chem 24, which is full battery of chemistries on him, and a CDC, and ran the whole thing. The next day they called me, and the nurse said, listen, Joe doesn't have any abnormal white cells at all. He has no infection, none. And she said his chemistries are all perfect. Now, we kill cellulitis, which I think is just as damaging and almost as scary as the MRSA, this flesh-eating MRSA. As a medical professional, I'm convinced that with this purple and with this red and green, if we will drink this, our bodies will stay healthier than if we don't drink it. In my opinion, everybody should be drinking it. Every plant life should have a drink of it. Every animal should have a good drink of it. And if you can get them to bathe the animals in it. We just absolutely, Fred has been given a precious, precious gift from God. And he is kind enough and bright enough and Christian enough to share it with anyone that's wise enough to listen and try it.
Well, thank you, Ann, for that wonderful testimony.
Thank you all for allowing me.
Yes, I'm glad you finally got through again. And folks, with that, I'm going to stop the recording and thank everybody for coming.